All right, we're talking about range and interquartile range, or shortened to IQR. You'll typically see this when you're working with box and whisker plots. I'm going to show you one of those in a little bit, but we won't get into full detail on the box and whisker plot just yet. All right, so range is pretty simple. It just means you are subtracting the biggest number minus the smallest number. And that's what it is every time. So you're just looking for the biggest number and smallest number, and you're always subtracting them. It's not tricky. It's not like sometimes range means add or multiply. Range always means you're subtracting. So always find that biggest and smallest number and then subtract those. So for this first one, I just need to identify my biggest number and my smallest number, which is 6 and 22. So I'm going to do 22 minus 6. And I'm going to get 16. And that's all there is to it for range. Just finding the biggest and the smallest and subtracting them. All right, interquartile range takes a little bit more work. The first thing you need to do is put those numbers in order from least to greatest. Okay, so I'm gonna do that first. So 6, 8, 8, 11, 15, 19, and 22. Okay, once again, cross those numbers off as you go so you make sure you don't forget any. All right, now range still means, it's interquartile range. So I told you range always means subtract. So we're still going to be subtracting. We just got to do a little work before we get there. So you're going to be breaking this up into different sections. The first thing you're going to want to do, though, is find that median. Okay, so we want to find the median. Remember, the median is that number in the middle. So I need to find the number in the middle of my set of data. Okay, so gone, 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 gone. So I got 3 checked off here, 3 checked off here, so I can see that my median is 11. Now, you need that information, but it's not the answer. Okay, you just need that so that you can break up your numbers into an upper group and a lower group. So you've got these upper numbers and these lower numbers, and it's like they've been divided into 2 different groups. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to find the middle or the median of those 2 groups. So if I'm looking at this list of numbers right here, I'm just looking at 6, 8, and 8. I want to find the median of those 3 numbers. So I'm trying to figure out what number is in the middle. Well, this one's kind of easy because it's only 3 numbers, but it's easy to tell that 8 is my median. 8 is my number in the middle of those 3 numbers. Same thing over here. I'm looking at 15, 19, and 22. Well, the number in the middle is going to be 19. Okay, so these numbers are going to have names. Once again, you'll get into that when you do box and whisker plots. They're going to be the lower quartile and upper quartile. But for right now, let's just focus on remembering what interquartile range means. So now that you found those numbers, all you need to do is subtract those 2 numbers you found. So 19 minus 8 is going to end up giving me 11. So that would be your interquartile range. All right, so the interquartile range, like I said, has a lot of steps, but it's not the end of the world. Okay, let's look at another example. All right. List of numbers again. All right, let's find that range. That one's pretty easy. All right, you're finding your smallest number and your biggest number. It looks like my smallest number is 42. My biggest number is 61. So if I do 61 minus 42, that is going to give me 19. So my range is 19. My range of numbers is 19. From the biggest to the smallest is 19. All right, so now comes the trickier one, the interquartile range. Okay, so remember the first thing we need to do is put them in order from least to greatest. So we've got 42, 46, 48, 53, 57, 59, 60, and 61. Okay, so I've got all my numbers. All right, so remember that first step was finding that median. So finding that number that's going to be in the middle of your list of numbers. Okay, so cross them off. All right, I've got to stop now, because if I were to cross off this 53, I'd have 4 crossed off here, but only 3 on this side. And remember, it has to stay even. Okay, so remember, when we found median, you're finding that number in the middle. So if I have 2 numbers left, and I'm going to add those 2 together, and I'm going to find the number in the middle of them. So if I do 53 plus 57, because remember, those are my 2 numbers that are left, this would be 110. Okay, obviously 110 is not the number in the middle, so now we have to divide it by 2 because we have 2 numbers left. So 2 goes into 11 5 times, so I get 55. So my median is 55. Now if you think about it, where would 55 fall? Well, 55 would fall right here. So this is my median, and it's 55. Okay, but remember, the purpose of finding that median is to break up your list of numbers into an upper group and a lower group. So these right here are my lower group of numbers, and these are my upper group of numbers. Okay, you don't include the median, because remember, that's the number right in the middle. It's not a part of the lower group, it's not a part of the upper group, it's in the middle. Okay, so now remember, we need to find that lower quartile and that upper quartile. So in other words, we're looking at this set of numbers right here, and we're trying to figure out what number is in the middle of that, just those 4 numbers. Okay, so remember, we're just finding the median again, pretty much. So this one's gone, but once again, I'm left with 2 numbers in the middle. Okay, so I'm left with 46 and 48. All right, well, what's in the middle of 46 and 48? And hopefully you're realizing that that would be 47. Okay, so that is my lower extreme. Okay, now I gotta do the same thing on the other side with my upper numbers. That one's gone, that one's gone. I'm left with 59 and 60. Well, what's in between 59 and 60? All right, well, between 59 and 60 would be 59.5. Okay, now that you found those 2 numbers, now is when you do the range. So you're going to be doing 59.5 minus 47, and that's going to give you 12 and 5/10. Okay, so that's your interquartile range for that list of numbers. All right, and the last one I'm going to show you is, this is a box and whisker plot. Like I said, this is not a lesson on box and whisker plots, but this is how you will see interquartile range shown on a test. The hard work pretty much is already done for you. You just have to know where to look to find your everything. So to find the range is going to be the 2 points at the end. Okay, so this point right here is going to be your biggest number, and you can tell that that point represents 38. And then my other point represents my smallest number, which would be 12. So remember, range means to subtract, so that would be 26. All right, now for interquartile range, you'll obviously notice I don't have my long list of numbers that I got to find all those numbers for. It's already given to me, okay? So this part of the box right here is going to be your lower median, okay? That lower middle number of your group, and then this right here is going to be the upper median, the upper quartile median. So like, this was the lower one here, this was the upper one here. Rather than having to do all that work, I just have to be able to read this box and whisker plot, and I can see that my upper quartile, or my upper median, is going to be 27. My lower median is 16. Find the range of those, and I get 11. Okay? So remember, range is just the biggest number minus the smallest number. Interquartile range, you got to do a little bit more work, but in the end, you're still subtracting because range means subtract.